He was her everything, her first love. The man she loved so much, she gave up everything. She lifted him out of poverty, sent him to school, even brought him into the family business. But in return was the death of her parents. Was the fall while pregnant in a pool of blood. Was the icy whisper. This is revenge for Maria.
She didn't die.
She came back to life. And this time she wouldn't shed a single tear for the traitor. Back in college, after her rebirth, Susie sat on the edge of her bed when Maria, her roommate, stepped into the room holding a crumpled ultrasound report. "Susie," Maria said, her voice almost cheerful, "I'm pregnant with your boyfriend's child." In her previous life, that sentence would have crushed her. She would have screamed, cried, fallen apart. But this time, something had changed. Susie glanced at the paper. 6 weeks and 1 day. Early intrauterine pregnancy. Live embryo, it read at the bottom. She looked up and smiled, not forced, not broken, just calm. "That's wonderful news," she said. "Congratulations." Maria stood there, stunned. Aren't you angry?" "Angry?" Susie shook her head, her smile still in place. "For what? A man like that? He's all yours." The shock on Maria's face twisted into rage. "Guillermo is not a loser. You'll see I'm going to have this baby. After we graduate, we're getting married." "Sounds lovely," Susie said with a shrug. "I truly wish you both a happy life." Maria stormed out, slamming the door. Susie didn't flinch. She picked up her phone and called Guillermo. He didn't answer right away, and when he did, his voice was sharp and annoyed.
"What?"
"We're done," Susie said simply. There was a pause, then a snort. "Again with your dramas, Susie?" "No drama," she replied. "I'm serious. It's over." His breathing grew heavier.
"Fine.
Let's break up. Just don't come crawling back, like last time."
I didn't even get a new iPhone out of that."
Susie laughed quietly and hung up. Then she sent her father a message. "Dad, I broke up with Guillermo. Stop all his financial support." The reply came instantly. "Understood, princess." In her past life, Susie had loved Guillermo blindly. They were in the same department, different classes, and crossed paths in shared lectures. His carefree nature and humble background had drawn her in. She, the only child of wealthy business owners, thought she'd found something real. When she learned he was struggling to afford tuition and working part-time at the campus cafeteria, she pleaded with her father to help. He agreed without hesitation. "If my daughter's happy, that's all that matters." From that day, Guillermo quit his job and lived comfortably, dressed in designer clothes she bought and spoiled with every luxury she could provide. She thought love meant giving everything. But on this exact day in her previous life, when Maria handed her that same ultrasound report, her heart had shattered. She had screamed, collapsed from crying, and fainted in the dorm. Guillermo had told her it was a mistake, that she was the one he truly loved. He had promised to make Maria abort the child. Then fate struck. Maria died in a car crash, the baby gone with her. Guilty and broken, Susie stayed with Guillermo. He convinced her with empty words. They worked together at her family's company. He proposed. They married. 5 years later, she was pregnant. But on the day of her prenatal appointment, Guillermo slammed his car into theirs. Her parents died on the spot. She lay in blood, in agony, when he leaned close and whispered with venom, "This is for Maria. You killed her and our child. Now I'm returning the favor double." It was in that moment that truth stabbed through her like lightning. Guillermo had never loved her. Everything had always been about Maria. And now Maria was alive again. So was her child. But this time, they could all go to hell together. That evening, Maria returned to the dorm, barely acknowledging Susie. She turned to their other 2 roommates and declared, "Virginia, Luna, I'm moving out." "Why?" Luna asked, surprised.
"Maria Vin.
My boyfriend Guillermo's parents bought him an apartment near campus. He told me to move in. There's a spare room. I've already seen it. It's huge. Cozy. The water's always hot. There's even a vanity space for makeup." "Wow. So lucky," Luna said with wide eyes. Virginia chimed in. "He must be rich. You'll have to introduce us sometime." Maria smirked.
"Sure.
I'll have him take us all to lunch." Susi didn't even look up. She knew Maria didn't really care about Luna or Virginia, and none of them were close to her either. Her only real friend was Rita, in the dorm next door. Once the others turned their attention back to their laptops, Maria came closer and whispered, "Susi, I'll give you credit. At least you had the dignity to break up with Guillermo." She lowered her voice even more. "We're moving off campus. He's going to take care of me now.
Cook for me.
Make me soups. Every day." "Susi, are you jealous?" Susi turned slightly, picked up a glass of water, and accidentally tipped it forward. It spilled across Maria's. "Oh no, nothing, we were just talking about a new show," Maria said quickly. "Oh yeah, right," Virginia replied, not fully convinced. Susi took that moment to drop the bomb. "By the way, I broke up with Guillermo." The two girls looked surprised at first, but the shock quickly faded. "Honestly? That's for the best," Luna said, brushing her bangs from her eyes. "I always thought he wasn't right for you." "Exactly," Virginia added, her voice hushed with gossip. "Remember last semester? That girl in the torn shirt?" Guillermo stared at her, the entire class, like he'd never seen a woman before. "Gross." Susi noticed Maria stiffen, her jaw tightening as she glared daggers at Luna, but she said nothing. If their relationship became public, everyone would know Maria had been the other woman. Susi gave a soft laugh. "Yeah, Guillermo wasn't just gross. He was pathetic." Virginia raised her eyebrows. "Did he do something unforgivable?" Before Susi could reply, Maria jumped in, voice too high, too cheerful. "Virginia, about that drying rack you borrowed last week, you need it back. I have to pack up my things." "Oh, right. It's on the balcony. I'll get it." Virginia hurried off, and the conversation ended. 2 days later, as Susi and her best friend Rita were walking out of the building after class, Guillermo appeared out of nowhere, blocking their way. "What do you want?" Susi asked coldly.
"Just to talk," he said.
Then he turned to Rita. "Could you give us a minute?" Rita glanced at Susi, uncertain. Susi gave her a small nod. "I'll wait for you on the corner," Rita said gently before walking off. The moment she was gone, Guillermo exploded. "Was it really necessary? Blocking me on your phone?
On WeChat?
What are you going to pretend I don't exist in class now? Like seeing a stray dog on the street," she replied without blinking. Guillermo's face darkened. He struggled for words. "Your dad cut me off. His assistant said all support is cancelled." "Did you do that?" "Yes." "Are you crazy, Susi? Just because we broke up, you're punishing me?" His voice rose, his hands clenched.
"Call him.
Tell him to keep sending me the money. I need it. I'm broke." Susi burst out laughing. "You're unbelievable." Then she slapped him. "That's for thinking I still owe you something." Her voice turned icy. "Yes, I'm punishing you. Because we're done. My family doesn't owe you a cent. And if you're broke, go figure it out like everyone else. We're nothing now. Get that through your head." Guillermo stared at her like she'd morphed into a stranger. "You used to do everything I said." "Then I must have been hypnotized," she said with a half smile. "That spell's broken. I've changed. I'm not closed off to love, but I know better now. I've got more important things. My dreams, my family, my sanity." His face turned beet red. "You think you're so great just because you've got money? You're spoiled. Maria's way better than Yosha's sweet, obedient. You're insufferable. I chose the better woman." "Congratulations," Susi said calmly. "Now get out of my face. You traitorous mutt." And she walked away. Maria hadn't stayed in the dorm since moving in with Guillermo, but her stuff was still there. That day, when Susi came back from class, Maria's bed and desk were cleared. "Maria moved out this afternoon," one of the girls said casually. Susi nodded and didn't say a word. But an hour later, she opened her closet and stopped cold. 2 of her designer bags, 1 LV, 1 Gucci, were missing. Her Chanel perfumes, too. Over 50,000 yuan worth gone. She didn't hesitate. She called the police. Officers arrived promptly, asked questions, and checked with the roommates. Virginia and Luna allowed them to search their things freely. Nothing was found. The officers promised to keep her updated. That night, one of the girls' phones rang. She answered and looked over at Susi. "It's Maria. She wants to talk to you." Since Maria was blocked, It made sense she'd try another line. Susie took the phone, pressed it to her ear. Talk. Susie, come on. It's just a few things, Maria said, half laughing. Did you really need to call the police? Yes, Susie answered flatly. I lost nearly 50,000. That's enough to file charges. Silence. Then Maria's tone changed.
I'm sorry. Okay.
I didn't mean to steal them. I must have grabbed them by accident while packing. I'll return them now. Just tell the police it was a mistake, please. I don't want this to go on my record. Susie exhaled slowly. No, I don't believe it was an accident. The bags were inside my locked closet. The key was in my makeup box. Are you telling me you accidentally picked a lock too? Maria fell silent. It wasn't a mistake, Susie said. It was a choice. And you made it. Maria's voice cracked. Please, please, I'm begging you. Guillermo's family just found out about the pregnancy. They're furious. His mom wants nothing to do with me. If the police get involved, they'll really kick me out. I have no one else, Susie. Please, but Susie didn't waver. You should have thought about that before putting your hands on what's not yours. She ended the call and handed the phone back without a word. Shirt. She jumped back, soaked. Susie, what the hell? Susie stood up slowly and met her eyes. My hand slipped. And why would I be jealous of a mistress? Luna turned around, blinking. Mistress? Maria's face paled. Oh, no. Nothing, we were just talking about a new show, Maria said quickly. Oh yeah, right, Virginia replied, not fully convinced. Susie took that moment to drop the bomb. By the way, I broke up with Guillermo. The two girls looked surprised at first, but the shock quickly faded. Honestly? That's for the best, Luna said, brushing her bangs from her eyes. I always thought he wasn't right for you. Exactly, Virginia added, her voice hushed with gossip. Remember last semester? That girl in the torn shirt? Guillermo stared at her the entire class like he'd never seen a woman before. Gross. Susie noticed Maria stiffen, her jaw tightening as she glared daggers at Luna, but she said nothing. If their relationship became public, everyone would know Maria had been the other woman. Susie gave a soft laugh. Yeah, Guillermo wasn't just gross. He was pathetic. Virginia raised her eyebrows. Did he do something unforgivable? Before Susie could reply, Maria jumped in, voice too high, too cheerful. Virginia, about that drying rack you borrowed last week, you need it back. I have to pack up my things. Oh, right. It's on the balcony. I'll get it. Virginia hurried off, and the conversation ended. 2 days later, as Susie and her best friend Rita were walking out of the building after class, Guillermo appeared out of nowhere, blocking their way. What do you want? Susie asked coldly. Just to talk, he said. Then he turned to Rita. Could you give us a minute? Rita glanced at Susie, uncertain. Susie gave her a small nod. I'll wait for you on the corner, Rita said gently before walking off. The moment she was gone, Guillermo exploded. Was it really necessary? Blocking me on your phone? On WeChat? What are you going to pretend I don't exist in class now? Like seeing a stray dog on the street, she replied without blinking. Guillermo's face darkened. He struggled for words. Your dad cut me off. His assistant said all support is cancelled. Did you do that? Yes. Are you crazy, Susie? Just because we broke up, you're punishing me? His voice rose, his hands clenched.
Call him.
Tell him to keep sending me the money. I need it. I'm broke. Susie burst out laughing. You're unbelievable. Then she slapped him. That's for thinking I still owe you something. Her voice turned icy. Yes, I'm punishing you. Because we're done. My family doesn't owe you a cent. And if you're broke, go figure it out like everyone else. We're nothing now. Get that through your head. Guillermo stared at her like she'd morphed into a stranger. You used to do everything I said. Then I must have been hypnotized, she said with a half smile. That spell's broken. I've changed. I'm not closed off to love, but I know better now. I've got more important things. My dreams, my family, my sanity. His face turned beet red. You think you're so great just because you've got money? You're spoiled. Maria's way better than Yosha's sweet, obedient. You're insufferable. I chose the better woman. Congratulations, Susie said calmly. Now get out of my face. You traitorous mutt. And she walked away. Maria hadn't stayed in the dorm since moving in with Guillermo, but her stuff was still there. That day, when Susi came back from class, Maria's bed and desk were cleared. Maria moved out this afternoon, one of the girls said casually. Susi nodded and didn't say a word. But an hour later, she opened her closet and stopped cold. 2 of her designer bags, 1 LV, 1 Gucci were missing. Her Chanel perfumes too. Over 50,000 yuan worth gone. She didn't hesitate. She called the police. Officers arrived promptly, asked questions, and checked with the roommates. Virginia and Luna allowed them to search their things freely. Nothing was found. The officers promised to keep her updated. That night, one of the girls' phones rang. She answered and looked over at Susi. It's Maria. She wants to talk to you. Since Maria was blocked, it made sense she'd try another line. Susi took the phone, pressed it to her ear. Talk. Susi, come on. It's just a few things, Maria said, half laughing. Did you really need to call the police? Yes, Susi answered flatly. I lost nearly 50,000. That's enough to file charges. Silence. Then Maria's tone changed.
I'm sorry. Okay.
I didn't mean to steal them. I must have grabbed them by accident while packing. I'll return them now. Just tell the police it was a mistake, please. I don't want this to go on my record. Susi exhaled slowly. No, I don't believe it was an accident. The bags were inside my locked closet. The key was in my makeup box. Are you telling me you accidentally picked a lock too? Maria fell silent. It wasn't a mistake, Susi said. It was a choice. And you made it. Maria's voice cracked. Please, please, I'm begging you. Guillermo's family just found out about the pregnancy. They're furious. His mom wants nothing to do with me. If the police get involved, they'll really kick me out. I have no one else, Susi. Please, but Susi didn't waver. You should have thought about that before putting your hands on what's not yours. She ended the call and handed the phone back without a word. How could you confuse them? Virginia muttered under her breath, voice laced with disbelief. The classmates nearby exchanged awkward glances. No one dared defend Maria. She stammered something incoherent, then suddenly shifted tone, almost shouting through the phone. Susi, cancel the report. Do it now, or they'll take me to the station. Susi's laugh was soft but cold. I won't cancel it, she replied and ended the call without another word. The next day, Rita accompanied her to the police station. Maria had spent the night in a holding cell. Guillermo was pacing outside like a caged dog. The officers returned Susi's stolen bags and perfumes, explaining that while the theft wasn't considered major, Maria would still receive 10 days of detention and an 800 yuan fine. Susi nodded. Then let her be detained. Guillermo flew into a rage. Susi, do you even have a heart?
Maria's pregnant.
How can she endure all of this? Before Susi could reply, Rita stepped in. And when she stole, did she think about the fact that she was pregnant? Did she think about her child then? Guillermo looked like he'd been slapped. His fists clenched, but he didn't dare swing. Susi turned to the officers, voice calm but resolute. Apply the law. If she gets special consideration for being pregnant, I won't object. But withdrawing the complaint or reaching a private deal, that's not going to happen. Maria must be held accountable for what she did. Word spread quickly among their classmates. Though neither Susi nor Rita commented publicly, rumors bloomed like weeds. A week later, while Susi was watching a drama in the dorm, Maria stormed in like a woman possessed. Susi, you bitch. You made me suffer. I'm going to kill you. Her hand swung towards Susi's face. But Susi moved first. She dodged cleanly, then grabbed Maria's hair with one hand and slapped her twice with the other clean, loud, final. When she let go, Maria stumbled back, shocked more than hurt. Susi stood her ground. Maria panted heavily, her eyes wild. Do you hate me that much? Is that why you're doing this to make me suffer for taking Guillermo? She didn't wait for an answer. Well, guess what? I love him. We love each other. I'm having his child. He's mine now, and there's nothing you can do about it. Susi gave a cool smile. If you don't want me to make you suffer, then stay away from me. Stop playing the victim. Then her eyes dropped to Maria's belly. What's wrong? Coming to fight while pregnant? Or, have you stopped caring about your baby?
Maria's bravado cracked instantly.
She cradled her stomach, backing away. You wouldn't dare hurt my baby. Then leave, Susie said. And don't come back. After that incident, Maria and Guillermo clung to each other like barnacles. They showed up to every class together, suddenly attentive students. Guillermo fawned over her, offering water, carrying her bag, acting like the perfect partner. They even began spinning their own version of the story. It was just a misunderstanding, Maria told curious classmates. I accidentally took some of Susie's things when I was packing. We settled it peacefully at the station. Yeah, Guillermo chimed in. I broke up with Susie and realized Maria's the one I really wanted. I pursued her. She agreed, and now we're together. Guillermo's parents even bought us an apartment near campus, Maria added sweetly. I live there now. We're planning to get married. Rita was livid, ready to stand up in class and reveal the truth, but Susie stopped her. Her reputation was intact. There was no point dragging herself through the mud with liars. Let trash bury itself.
Rita nodded reluctantly.
She understood. The other two roommates, Virginia and Luna, looked skeptical. Maybe they sensed something wasn't right, but they kept silent, following Susie's lead. After final exams, Susie began packing to go home. Her parents were away in Hong Kong for business, so the family butler came to pick her up at the university gate. As she wheeled her suitcase toward the exit, she heard someone call her name. Susie, wait. Guillermo ran up behind her, panting. Can you lend me some money? Please, just 5,000 yuan. Maria needs to go for a prenatal checkup. She doesn't have enough for New Year's. I want to go home too, but we only have 300 yuan. Sleeper train tickets are running out. No, Susie replied without even stopping. Guillermo blinked. Please, for old time's sake. She turned to face him, the wind catching the hem of her wool coat. In one hand was her Hermes Kelly bag, in the other, the handle of her sleek suitcase. No, she repeated. Then she walked away without looking back, her heels clicking confidently. Vacation, she murmured to herself, smiling. Time to go home. To the people who truly mattered. The thought of her parents made her heart ache. In her past life, they had died too soon, taken from her by the man she once thought she loved. Now that she had a second chance, she cherished every moment. When the new year came, her father handed her 2 property deeds. Prime real estate in the city center, each worth a fortune. Her mother transferred 10 million yuan to her account. Darling, she said with a smile, Mom's been too busy to shop with you.
Buy anything you want.
Whatever makes you happy. Thank you, Mom.
Thank you, Dad.
Susie's heart felt full, genuinely full. On the 8th day of the new year, her parents took her to a private gathering with business friends. That's when she saw him, Leonardo. A childhood friend she hadn't seen in years. He was 2 years older and had gone abroad during high school. Now he was pursuing a postgraduate degree. He walked toward her with the same confident stride she remembered, but something about him had changed.
Taller. Calmer.
More refined. Susie, he asked, smiling. It's been a while. Leonardo, she smiled back. You're still handsome, and you're still a charmer, he laughed. Their eyes met, and for the first time in a long time, Susie felt something stir that wasn't anger, regret, or bitterness. Maybe, just maybe, this life was ready to offer her something better. Wow, little Susie. How long has it been? 5, 6 years. You're unrecognizable. Leonardo's voice carried that same playful sarcasm she remembered from childhood. Susie gave him a sidelong glance, feigning irritation. And you, Leo? What happened to you? Why do you look so greasy? He reached out and patted her head gently. Greasy? You're still as insolent as ever, you little brat. She rubbed her head with mock offense. And why are you touching me? Did I give you permission? Do I need permission to touch your head now? Obviously. Well, now I'm going to touch it more. And that coat you're wearing? Awful. Plus that haircut? Yikes. You're so annoying. They kept bickering, trading playful jabs like nothing had changed between them. But when his parents called him over, Susie watched as he transformed before her eyes. Leonardo spoke confidently with an older gentleman, discussing complex topics like smart cities and digital urban planning. He referenced international models, industry leaders, government incentives. The man listening nodded continuously, clearly impressed. And in that moment, Susie felt something stir inside her, not jealousy, but admiration. Leonardo looked brilliant,
Composed.
respected, capable. That image of him, so different from the boy she used to tease, lingered in her mind for days. And from it bloomed a new determination. She would pursue graduate school. She'd strengthen her skills, expand her mind, and one day stand as an equal beside people like Leonardo. Her parents, as always, supported her wholeheartedly. "If it's what you want, sweetheart, then do it," her father said. "Mom and I will always have your back." With renewed focus, Susie returned to university after the new year and began researching programs, prepping for her English exams, and planning her future. Meanwhile, word spread that Maria had failed the semester. A classmate mentioned she'd applied for a leave of absence. Susie scrolled past Maria's selfies online, noticing her visibly fuller face, but felt no need to comment. Let her spiral. That Friday, after class, Susie and Rita were packing up when Guillermo suddenly appeared. "Susie, want to grab a bite together?" She blinked, baffled by his audacity. "Eat together? What are you, delusional?"
Get lost.
She didn't even glance at him again. But Guillermo persisted. "Come on, it's just food. We'll eat, talk a little. I forgot my cafeteria card, so maybe you can treat me." Disgust surged through her. She slammed her book shut and smacked it against his face. "Not hard, but enough." "Are you crazy?"
Guillermo snapped.
Susie smiled sweetly.
Yeah.
"You're crazy, ex. So, don't mess with me." Rita was thrilled. "You traitorous mutt. Go eat Maria's cooking." Guillermo turned red, fists clenched, but Susie and Rita had already walked out. That weekend, while browsing the street market with Rita, they crossed paths with Maria and Guillermo. Maria's belly was noticeably round now, and she leaned into Guillermo's side as they walked. Seeing Susie, Maria's eyes lit up with a thrill of performance. "Oh my God, what a coincidence," she beamed, rubbing her stomach. "Susie, I'm in the final trimester already. Can you believe it?" Susie gave a blank stare. Not getting the reaction she wanted, Maria pushed on. "The doctors say the baby's perfectly healthy. All thanks to Guillermo's care. He cooks for me every day, doesn't let me lift a finger. He even washes my underwear." Guillermo chimed in on cue. "And she deserves it all. I love her and our baby more than anything." Maria gave him a sugary smile.
He's the best.
"Can you believe such a good man ended up with me?" Susie could barely hold back a yawn. "Do you have a birth bag ready yet?"
Maria blinked. What?
"Hospital plans. You know, private rooms get booked early. Or are you doing shared?" Susie continued smoothly. "And postnatal care? Nannies come in different price tiers, right? Or are you going for a recovery center?" Rita joined in perfectly. "Yeah, those fill up fast. Hope you've made reservations." She turned to Guillermo, smirking. "So, how much have you saved to pamper Maria like a queen during delivery?" The couple turned pale instantly. Guillermo opened his mouth, but nothing came out.
Maria's faca glowed in mat.
Susie's voice was still polite, but razor-sharp. "If you're going to show off, do it with real resources. Not cheap speeches about eternal love. That's just embarrassing." With that, she gave them one final look of elegant disdain. "Susie, you," Maria hissed, but she was trembling with rage. Guillermo's face darkened. But Susie and Rita didn't stay to entertain their collapse. As they turned to leave, Susie thought, "This world is full of noise, and some people make too much of it. But when you know your worth, silence becomes power." I just smiled and turned to Rita. "Momo, seafood's on me tonight. And we're definitely getting a few drinks." "Perfect." Rita clapped. "And tomorrow we're going shopping. I'm getting you a bottle of La Mer." Rita wasn't just loyal, she was also rich in her own right. Maybe her family wasn't as influential as Susie's, but she grew up in luxury. High-end clothes, imported cosmetics, everything first-rate. As the two of them walked away from Maria and Guillermo, laughing and making plans, Susie felt the satisfying sting of indifference. "Hey," Rita asked casually, "wasn't that crazy popular gadget from your mom's company?" "Yup, from one of her subsidiaries." And that giant mall they just opened in the South Zone isn't that yours too? Technically one of my dad's projects, Susie replied with a half shrug. Rita sighed. Your family has too much money. Mine's got nothing on yours. My dad's been off working in some mountain province for 2 months. My mom's at home stewing herbs like she's cooking up immortality, and my brother's about to open his 12th martial arts school like he's building an empire. Well, that sounds kind of amazing too. Their conversation was casual, not loud, but apparently not quiet enough. From behind them, Maria's voice cut through the air. Susie, what are you bragging about now? Rita and Susie looked at each other and burst into laughter without a word. By April, Susie occasionally saw Guillermo in her master classes. One day, while waiting for class to begin, she overheard 2 girls behind her whispering. Have you noticed how weird Guillermo's been lately? Yeah, he hasn't missed a single class. That's not like him at all. Susie barely registered their words. She was focused on her notes, her plans, her future. Near the end of one lecture, her classmate kept glancing at her phone and finally got up. She walked toward the back of the room and casually said, Guillermo, Maria says call her and come back right now. Her tone was flat, neutral. But Guillermo exploded. Who the hell asked you to pass messages? Are you her mother now? The room fell silent. If she tells me to go back, do I have to go? Do I not have dignity? Am I not a man? His voice echoed. Get out of my sight. The poor girl stood frozen, eyes wide with embarrassment, before she ran off in tears. Her friend quickly followed. The class erupted into murmurs. Didn't Maria drop out? Then why is she summoning him like that? Aren't they living together? If so, why did she leave school? Susie said nothing, just smiled to herself. Later, while studying in the library before finals, someone lightly tapped her shoulder. She turned and saw Guillermo. His face was pale, anxious. Susie, he whispered, I need to talk to you. Instantly, she backed away and began packing her things. She didn't want to make a scene, but she had no interest in his presence. He followed her out of the library. Wait, he pleaded. Just hear me out. She stopped. What do you want? Please, I need money. I really need it. I can't take out any more loans. Maria can't either. She hasn't even given birth yet, and the hospital expenses are piling up. I don't even have 10 yuan left on WeChat. She keeps asking for things, non-stop. I'm drowning, Susi. He looked at her desperately. You have money. You have so much. Can't you just help just this once? No, her answer was immediate, clean, final. She turned and walked away. Behind her, his voice rose with frustration. You have no heart, Susie. You're just a cold, soulless woman. Susie didn't flinch. She just smiled sharp, cruel. In her past life, Guillermo had taken everything her family gave him. He lived under their roof, fed off their kindness, only to betray them and send them into ruin. In this life, she owed him nothing. No pity, no money, not even a glance. That woman and that child were his to deal with. Let's see just how exceptional he truly was. After final exams, Susie took the TOEFL and felt confident about her results. One day, she received a text from an unknown number. Susie, I had the baby. It's a boy. Guillermo's very happy.
She didn't even need to check.
Obviously, it was Maria. Susie smiled, unfazed. Well, congratulations, she muttered and tossed her phone aside. As senior year began, students split into 2 paths. Some crammed for graduate exams, others scrambled for internships. Susie stayed, focused on her overseas master's applications. One afternoon, as she was heading out from her dorm, Guillermo blocked her path again. Susie, I've been waiting for you. The sound of her name in his voice made her stomach twist with disgust. Who gave him the right? Waiting for what? She asked, deadpan. I want to tell you something. She didn't move. Just gave him a look that said, speak. Now, Susie, let's get back together, Guillermo said, his tone pretending to be heartfelt. The one I truly love now is you. I was stupid before completely blind. I thought I loved Maria, but I don't. I'm done with her. She's useless, uneducated, and so lazy it makes me sick. Her family is dirt poor, and they don't give her a cent. I can't take it anymore. He stepped closer, trying to touch her. Susi immediately took 2 steps back, eyes narrowing. His hand hovered awkwardly midair before he dropped it. Susi, I owe 530,000 yuan, he confessed, his voice trembling. It's all online loans and loan shark debt. But if you come back to me and help me pay it off, I swear I'll love you with everything I've got. I'll do anything. I'll be your servant. We'll get married after graduation. I'll move in with your family. I'll take your surname. Our kids will be yours in every way. Just help me. Susi stared at him, then burst out laughing. What's so funny? Guillermo asked, looking confused. You, she replied. You're insane.
He blinked.
So, you don't want to get back together?
No.
I don't want anything to do with you for the rest of my life.
Her words were ice.
Guillermo, how many times do I have to tell you? Stay away. She turned to leave, but he jumped in front of her.
No.
Susi, you haven't dated anyone since we broke up. That means you still love me, doesn't it? He was desperate now, unraveling. Is it because of Maria? Because of the baby? You're upset that I was with her, right? Don't be. I already told Maria I want nothing to do with her or the kid. They mean nothing to me now. You don't have to worry about them. Susi stared at him in disbelief. This man, this creature was truly soulless. Oh, I get it, Guillermo continued, his voice lowering with sleaze. We never slept together. That's why you're not emotionally attached to me. Let's go to a hotel.
Just one night.
I promise, after that, you'll never want to leave me. I'm amazing in bed. That was it. As he reached out to grab her arm, Susi lifted her right leg and kicked him straight in the groin. HHHMY. Guillermo howled, collapsing to the ground, clutching himself and writhing. Right at that moment, Rita and her boyfriend arrived. Susi, what's going on? Rita asked. This pig tried to drag me to a hotel, Susi replied coldly. You son of a Guillermo, do you want to die? Rita charged forward, fists clenched. Susi remembered everything he had done in her past life, how disgusting, how cruel he'd been, and she joined in without hesitation. Rita's boyfriend, calm but calculating, observed for a beat before saying, the dorm cameras must have caught everything. He struck first. This is self-defense. Then he joined the beatdown. Rita, trained in sanda and boxing by her martial artist brother, was terrifying.
Guillermo stood no chance.
Eventually, his face bruised and broken, he dropped to his knees, sobbing. Stop.
Please.
I was wrong.
I'm begging you, have a mercy.
None of them said a word. They simply walked away. In her second year of her master's abroad, Susi received a message from her father along with a video. Sweetheart, that friend of yours came to make a scene outside our headquarters today. Don't worry, security handled it immediately. She opened the video. Guillermo looked like a deranged homeless man, screaming outside her father's company building. Susi, come see me. Why did you abandon me? You ruined me. You owe me. Then the guards dragged him out like trash. Susi didn't even finish the video. She closed it, then replied to her father. When I graduate, I'll come home and intern at your company. Perfect, her father wrote. But don't even think about going to work for your mother. Susi smiled. Typical dad. Before graduation, she had a conversation with a former classmate who shared chilling news. After Guillermo left Maria, she became overwhelmed with the baby. One day, she suffocated the infant and dumped the body. The next day, she died in a car crash.
Karma.
Guillermo's spirit led no job, no future. He turned to gambling, then theft. During one robbery, he broke into a home not knowing a family was inside. He ended up killing 3 people, a father and 2 children. He was quickly arrested and sentenced to death. When Susi heard this, she felt peaceful. Finally. On the day of her graduation, as she crossed campus in her gown, her phone rang. Little Susi turned around.
She stopped and spun around.
Leonardo was standing a few yards away, smiling. Her heart skipped. What are you doing here? I asked my parents to reach out to yours, he said, walking up. I came to find you. I wanted to surprise you. Well, you succeeded, she smiled. Let me take you out to lunch. At the restaurant, the teasing from childhood was replaced with something calmer. Grown up. They spoke openly about work, about their plans, about who they had become. When they understood each other clearly, Leonardo leaned forward. Susie, when you finish things here, come back home with me. I'd love to, she said sincerely. Once we're back in the same city, we can help each other with work. And we can go out to eat often, he added. Then he paused. And can we start dating?
Seriously.
With the intention of getting married. He didn't smile when he said it. He was completely serious. Susie blinked, then smiled, warm and certain.
Yes.
Of course. This boy she'd grown up with, he had always been someone she admired. And now he was a man, handsome, grounded, real. Not a trace of slime or manipulation. Just sincerity. She had no doubt in her heart. If you love emotional and surprising stories, don't forget to like the video to support the channel and help us spread more heart-touching stories.